Greetings everybody, Dragon here, and since the people behind Avatar The Last Airbender announced so many projects for the future, I thought this was a good time to do an analysis on Korra, the protagonist of the sequel series. Now, before I start this video, I just wanted this to be known. I don't hate Avatar The Legend of Korra, I just think that overall the show wasn't as good as it could have been, and generally speaking, I think its potential got wasted. Now, to truly start this analysis, I will go all the way back to the beginning and start with the concept for Korra. Conceptually speaking, Korra is not a creative character. This is because she's basically just the opposite of Aang in many ways. Like Aang is a boy, Korra is a girl. Korra is violent, Aang is peaceful. Aang is a master of airbending, needs to master the other elements. Korra is the opposite. Aang just wanted to be a normal kid and grow up, and Korra only wants to be the Avatar. She craves it, she needs it. She has based her whole identity upon this fact. And this isn't something that is inherently bad or wrong, but objectively speaking, it is lazy. Now, that being said, my biggest issue with Korra is the fact that throughout her show, throughout her story, she wasn't developed organically, naturally, or even logically. And what I mean with development, and I think most people will agree, development is basically the change a character goes through in a story. Like them growing up, maturing, overcoming their flaws, and ultimately becoming a better person and character by the end of a story and throughout it. And this is pretty evident in the way Korra behaves throughout the show. Like she never learns her lessons, she often ignores everyone else's thoughts and opinions, rushes through problems in general, is overly violent and confident, disrespects others, and she doesn't think about the consequences of her actions. Thing that brings her griefs and issues, throughout the story. Like in season 1, when she gets manipulated by TLOK, Amon's brother, into basically persecuting non-benders. Thing that gives ground to Amon's claims about inequality. Or how rushing to Amon gets her captured almost makes it so there are no more airbenders and ultimately makes her lose her bending, the thing that she values the most about herself. Then in season 2, when she's basically being toxic towards Mako, attacking him for not supporting her in the way she wanted to be supported, ignoring her dad and friends when they advise her not to trust Unalaq, her uncle that by this point is a complete stranger to her. The guy then manipulates her, basically the same way she got manipulated in season 1, and in this time she's basically, responsible for causing a civil war between the South and North tribe and opening the portals to the spirit world that basically allowed Vatu, an evil spirit, to try and conquer the world. Then in season 3, that by this point she should really think things through and listen to others. She decides to leave Republic City unprotected just because she's being held accountable and being criticized after she let an evil spirit wreck Republic City, right? And then decides to go after the Red Lotus, an organization she knows nothing about, and again is being advised not to confront head-on. Not to mention that even though she caused a civil war in season 2, her first instinct when she meets the Earth Queen Hugh Thing, that is just being rude towards her, was to basically antagonize said Earth Queen and basically try and start an open conflict with an entire kingdom. That, by the way, falls in chaos just because the Red Lotus was in Ba Sing Se solely because Korra was there. Then, because she was basically cornered into giving herself up, because she didn't want to think things through and make up a plan, she ultimately gets herself poisoned and crippled. But at least at this time, she kept the property damage and the general destruction of people's lives to a minimum. So, and this is a side note from my side, but her whole role between the Lin Beifong and Su Beifong situation, like literally Korra disregarding anything Lin is feelings based on legitimately, reasons, right? Like how Su literally scarred her, like how Su basically made it so tough, had to, quit her job as a police, I don't know what the position is, like the police higher up, and sorry my ignorance there. Or how basically she commits crimes and she was not held accountable by anything she did. But Korra, for whatever reason, is willing to take Sue's side, even though she only just met her and knows nothing about her. Just like she trusted Unalak in season 2, or TLOK in season 1. And lastly, in season 4, Korra seems to be a bit better, but she overall runs away from her duties as the Avatar and ultimately shows she hasn't matured at all. Like, for example, the moment she was back into a fight against Sugawira, like when she freshly got, when she freshly recovered from her poisoning, right? She makes it clear she just wanted an excuse to be violent instead of trying to solve the problem peacefully. Because remember, when she got cornered, her fucking first reaction was basically, oh, I just wanted to fight her. Like, oh, right. Not to mention how she still decides to jeopardize Republic City by allowing Kuvira to reach the city with her mecha instead of intercepting her before. And at the end, when the world still needs her, right? Like, the Republic City is still in shambles. There's a lot of spirits all around. She just opened a new spirit portal in the middle of a, populated city. She then decides to prioritize what she wants and takes a vacation. And this is something so idiotic by this point that they will make her just, again, basically run away just because she's like tired. Even though, like, most of the time, if she just, listened to others, respected others' opinions and thoughts, and just tried to be less egotistical about, herself, she probably would have avoided most of the issues she was sometimes directly responsible for. And this doesn't even get better in the comics that followed, season 4, because the way they wrote the comics was basically giving her the reason for abandoning the world after basically wrecking it. Like, she was right because she was tired and she needed a vacation. Even though, spirits were invading from the new portal she created, a lot of people lost their houses and were, just overall in anguish about the situation, etc., etc., etc. Just like, they just made it seem like she didn't have anything to be sorry about. But either way, like, in conclusion, if you wanna take anything I said, at face value, like, I think Korra was ultimately a character with a lot of potential, but the mishandling of the show from both Nickelodeon and the writers basically messed her up and ultimately made her seem like a very bad character, even though she wasn't really a bad character. Like, maybe she wasn't the most creative one, but she had potential. And I think that is the saddest part of The Legend of Korra in general, that they just basically wasted all that potential. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you for listening to this video. Hope you enjoy it. Put your thoughts in the comments, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.